Close your eyes for a moment and listen. For plain notes, played slowly, one at a time. Now the same 4 notes, but faster. And again, much faster still. The pitches did not change. The volume did not change. Nothing changed except the speed, and yet the 3 versions feel like completely different pieces of music. One sounds meditative and still, as though there is all the time in the world. One sounds purposeful and forward-moving, like someone walking to a destination. One sounds urgent, almost breathless, as though something important is happening right now. That transformation happened because of one single property of the music. That speed is called tempo, and it is one of the most powerful dials a musician has. Before you understand chords or scales or key signatures, you can shape the entire emotional character of a piece just by deciding how fast it moves. Tempo is simply the speed of the pulse, and it is measured in beats per minute. Beats per minute is written BPM for short. Think of beats per minute as a clock counting. Every time the second hand ticks, that is 1 beat at 60 BPM. At 60 BPM, 1 beat arrives every second, the same pace as a clock ticking on a wall. You can feel exactly how slow that is. Each beat has plenty of room around it, plenty of space to breathe before the next one arrives. The pulse ticks steadily, 1 per second, and that spaciousness is part of what makes slower tempos feel calm or contemplative. There is a reason lullabies are slow. A fast pulse would keep a baby alert, a slow one tells the nervous system to unwind. That connection between tempo and mood is not a coincidence or a convention. It runs deeper than that, and we will come back to why in a moment. Now watch what happens as the dial turns. At 60 BPM the beats arrive once per second, spacious and unhurried. Push to 120 BPM and 2 beats now land in the same second. The pulse is brisk, energetic, forward-moving. Go further to 180 BPM and 3 beats per second start to feel genuinely urgent. Your brain locks onto the faster grid and the whole world of the music speeds up with it. Notice that each doubling of BPM makes the music feel twice as active, even though the actual notes have not changed at all. The notes themselves are silent on the question of mood. They are just pitches waiting to be given a context. Tempo is that context. It is the clock the notes live inside, and when the clock runs faster, every note feels more pressed, more driven. When it runs slowly, every note gets room to resonate and settle before the next one arrives. To hear the difference most clearly, take a short melody and play it at each of those 3 tempos in turn. At 60 BPM the melody feels reflective, each note given its full weight, each silence felt as part of the music. At 120 BPM the same notes feel like a walking pace, steady and purposeful, the kind of music you might hear underneath a scene of someone solving a problem. At 180 BPM the melody becomes something you could sprint to. The melody is identical each time, note for note, but the character is completely transformed. Tempo does not just set the speed, it sets the emotional temperature of everything built on top of it. The harmony underneath changes character too. A sad chord progression at 60 BPM feels slow and heavy with grief. The same progression at 180 BPM feels frenetic and anxious. Speed does not change what the notes are, but it changes everything about what they mean. Different styles of music tend to cluster in different tempo ranges, though none of these are hard rules and any style can break them deliberately. Slow ballads and lullabies typically sit between 60 and 80 BPM, giving each note room to resonate and letting singers hold long phrases without rushing. Most pop and rock songs live between roughly 100 and 130 BPM, energetic but still easy to follow and comfortable to sing along to. Dance and electronic music often pushes higher, from around 120 up to 140 or beyond, because the faster pulse keeps bodies moving. Marches tend to land close to 120, matching a steady walking pace, which is exactly what they were designed for. Wherever a song sits on that range, the chosen tempo shapes its personality from the very first beat. A producer deciding the tempo of a track is making one of the earliest and most consequential creative decisions. Get the tempo slightly wrong and the song can feel either draggy or anxious, even if every other element is perfect. Speed sets the mood. That is the whole lesson. Slow tempos feel open, spacious, meditative. Fast tempos feel driven, urgent, exciting. The same notes, the same harmony, the same rhythm patterns, all read differently once you change that single number. Now that you know how fast the music goes, the next question is why some pairs of notes sound smooth and peaceful together while other pairs sting or clash. That contrast, between notes that blend and notes that rub, is consonance and dissonance, and it is coming up next.